What's happening, YouTube? This is another novice-GM series game. In this game, I'm doing a 6-player progressive cards game. Something that I found that was unusual at the beginning of the game. 4 out of my 5 opponents gave a greeting with a good luck. Because usually in the games, people don't really talk that much, but that was something that I found that was interesting. As to the ranks of the players, yellow is an intermediate, the green player is an expert, blue is a novice, purple and orange are both beginners. So we have a variety of ranks, ranging from novice to expert. You can see that yellow is focusing on Australia, while green is going for South America. But it looks like blue is not going to let yellow capture Australia so easily, because he built up troops and he broke into Australia, and now he's building up an army there. So there's going to be a fight between yellow and blue very soon. And this is exactly what you're not supposed to do in a progressive cards game. You're not supposed to fight for continents, because if you do that, then you're going to weaken yourself, and then pretty soon you're going to be so weak that it's going to be worth to take you out for your cards. That's why you should never fight for continents, especially in progressive. Meanwhile, the orange player is building up troops in South America. And also he ends up losing. He tried to attack a 3, so you should never attack 3s. He ends up losing a 6 on 3. He should have just attacked a 1. So that's another tip. You should never attack more than 1 troop. If you have the ability to attack a territory, it should either be a 1 or a 2. Because you don't want to waste your troops. You don't want to end up losing too many on random attacks. Alright, over here, yellow builds up and he actually attacks blue, an 8 on 7, and he ends up winning. For some reason, the dice roll works in his favor, because the chances of that happening are really low. And then he ends up attacking a 5 on 3, which makes absolutely no sense. And he ends up losing that. So yellow is super weak, and so is blue. And then green goes on to failing 3 3v1s in a row before winning a 2 on 1. So you can see these players are losing lots of troops attacking. So that's really good for me, because later on I'll be able to take them out one by one. So blue continues to go over towards Australia, and he actually puts his 5 troops next to the border. So there's going to be another attack, one final hurrah from the blue player on yellow. Meanwhile, the purple and green and orange are playing relatively well by not attacking each other. And the purple player is spread out well enough. He has like 4 different spots across the map, which is really good. At this point, I have 3 different spots in North America, Europe, and Africa. And this is a turn where orange decides that he will leave South America and give it up to green. Like, he doesn't want to end up fighting against green and weakening himself and weakening green too much. So that was a kind of smart decision, although he did lose a lot of troops leaving the continent. And now he's all in one area, so that kind of backfired, because if I were him, I would have left through North America. That way all of his troops wouldn't be in one location. So yellow builds up to defend against blue's attack, which is going to come up very soon. Alright, since orange left South America, green is free to take it and guard his borders. And now it's blue's time to commit suicide on yellow, an 8 on an 8. And unlike yellow, he doesn't get an insane dice roll and ends up losing it. Ends up crying, having 6 troops in 6 territories. So the game is over for the blue player. And this is a time where purple decides that he should go and try to take out blue. So he goes around and gets a lot of good dice rolls up to this point. But it's going to be a little bit a pretty decent amount of risk, because now he has to split off that 7, put 3 down there to attack. And now it's going to be a 2-on-1 in North America. And you can see the moment of truth, and he ends up failing that. So he took a pretty big risk to try to take out blue because he didn't have enough troops, and it didn't work out for him. And orange can't get to blue either, which means that I will have the ability to take out blue and get his cards. Now, given the value of the cards are only 4 at this point, so it's not too high, but it's still worth taking him out for 2 cards to turn in a set. Alright, at this point, I'm deciding, should I take out the yellow player? The yellow player has 3 cards and 12 troops. Those cards are worth 6, so it's not worth taking him out. Plus, there's a lot of risk involved if I were to do this. And the reward is not worth the risk, so in the end, I decide, after thinking about it for a while, that I shouldn't go for the yellow player. That's why I fortify my troops away into Africa, so that the yellow player doesn't feel threatened by my army. Yellow turns in a set just to survive, I guess, because if one of the other players, for example, if green had a set, maybe he could potentially go for yellow at that point. So he just turned in a set just to be safe, I assume, because now he has not so many cards, it's not worth taking him out at this point. Alright, at this point, I have a set of 3 cards, and the purple player is really thinking a long time, so I was wondering what's going on, because I didn't know whether he'd quit the game or if he's still just thinking about it. And then I decided to check his profile, because that tells you whether the player is online or not. And it turns out that the purple player actually went offline at this point after he failed taking out the blue player the last turn. He ended up quitting the game. So while I have a set at 3 cards, turning that set in and trying to go and take somebody out, like the green player, for example, it wouldn't make sense, because I wouldn't get 5 cards after taking him out, because he only has 4 cards. And something else weird that the orange player did was he started attacking all of these troops in Europe. That didn't make any sense, because that's just a waste of troops, because even if he'd won all of those and got really lucky, the amount of troops you get from Europe is at this point in the game, when the sets are at 10 and 15 and going up and up, it's not worth wasting all of your troops just to get a few extra troops. Like 5 extra troops. It's not worth doing all of those attacks just to get that continent. Alright, over here, Yellow decides that he would like to take out the green player from Asia. That was an interesting decision. Maybe he was afraid of green coming and taking him out, because green player has 4 cards. Even though it wouldn't make sense for green to do that, but I guess he was afraid of green. The green player does not have a set of 4 cards, so he's at a pretty big risk of being taken out. At this point, the purple player has 4 cards, so it's definitely worth taking him out. I also have 4 cards, so if I turn my set in, then I'll have 1 card, and then if I take out purple, I'll get 4 cards, so then I'll have 5 cards, and then I can turn in a set again, and then I can use that set to keep on attacking and taking other players out, so you'll see. I'll place down some troops to take out his purple troops in Asia, some troops to take out troops in Africa, and a little bit to take out the rest in North America. There's only 2 troops down here, so I pushed some troops out so that I can use that army against orange potentially. And then I finish off the rest of purple. So now I can, like I was saying, I can turn in a set because I have 5 cards, and the timer is reset by 30 seconds. I have 15 troops, and I decide that I should go and take out the green player who has 21 troops. It's a bit of a risk since I only have 22 troops. However, I decided I should do this because his armies were split off, and having a bigger army attack those 2 medium-sized armies, you get an advantage. So I decided to take that risk. And then I decided to go for the orange player who only had 22 troops before I turned my set in. And now all that's left is yellow. I can turn in another set of cards, and then split off some troops, like 5, to take out the 5 in Japan, and then take out the rest in Australia. So I got to take out 4 players in 1 turn and win the game. Now I like to show you like my rank. It went up all the way to around 800k. Thanks for watching.